Good morning, everyone. This is Letitia Jefferson, the Director of Customer Experience at Ginnie Mae. Thank you so much for joining us today. I am really excited to be able to bring this training virtual and have this many people in the room. This is super, super dope. Thank you for joining us. I do have a couple of housekeeping items that I want to cover. If you have any questions about the information that Ryan just shared with you, please reach out to him in the group chat. He and Eric are here to support us technically throughout the course of this training. So please do reach out to him if you're having some challenges, getting your microphone connected or participating in the chat. Okay. The other thing that I want to start off with is letting you know that you have been invited to attend this training because you registered via a link on the Ginnie Mae website. I want you to know that the information shared in this training session and the discussion is intended for the invited participants only. This training session is closed to the press, and all press inquiries are handled through the Ginnie Mae Communications Office. If you are not one of the intended recipients of this information, you're hereby notified that the dissemination, distribution, or sharing of this information is strictly prohibited. So thank you again for joining us. These sessions are being recorded. So they will be made available to you afterwards via via a video recording. The other thing that I want to share with you is that the content of today's training. So we have Wade Gale from the Bank of New York Mellon, along with James Lee and Maribel Kanan, who are here to present to you information for single-family issuers on our pool process workflow and systems. I do want to clarify for some, because many are aware that we are transitioning, Ginnie Mae is transitioning to a MSMO compliant pool delivery data set that will be delivered through SFPDM, our single family pool delivery module. This training is not going to cover SFPDM or the MSMO compliant PDD. This training covers our existing pool process and systems, which is the flat file layout that is delivered in GinnieNet. Okay, so important point of clarification, if you were here looking for information on SFPDM, you will not be receiving that today. This is an introductory level training that will cover our pool process and systems in our present system, GinnieNet. Okay, again, I do want to emphasize that this is a beginner level course. So while you join us today, Wednesday, and Friday for 2 hours, we will be providing you introductory level information. Hopefully you've had a chance to see our Ginnie Mae Basics workbook. If you have not, I invite you to our ginniemay.gov website. Under Issuer Training, there are tools and resources which include that Ginnie Mae Basics workbook that gives a good fundamental underlying understanding of our program. And the other thing that I want to mention is that there's a new link for each session. So please make sure that you do not revisit today's link for future sessions. There's a unique link for Wednesday's session and a unique link for Friday's session. So please go into the correct meeting invitation to grab that link so that you can join us each session. All right. Last thing before I turn it over. If you were hoping to get some more intermediate level information or a deeper dive on some of these topics, please know that Ginnie Mae is about to begin a quarterly webinar series that will go just a little bit deeper on some of the content. So we'll be announcing that series very soon. We're going to have a couple of sessions next month. If you're looking for more intermediate information, please join us for those conversations. Okay. Without further ado, I would like to turn it over to Wade Gale for today's training.
Yes, thank you very much, Letitia, and good morning, everybody. It's Monday, my favorite day of the week. Actually, I'm lying. It's never my favorite day of the week. Hope everybody's doing well and you're buckled up and ready for the ride. As Letitia said, it's more of, we're going to introduce some of the features to you as part of your pool processing. And we hope with this information, you have also spent time reading that Bible. That's the Gen handbook, and kind of know what your company will be doing in terms of processing, if you're doing single family pools, what pool type you're doing. So we're just going to give you some guidance into help you. So that will help you actually start getting your pools together. And once you have read the guide and gather all your necessary information. So this is what this session is all about. Again, I'm Wade Gale. I manage the GenMate Customer Support Group, or one part of the GenMate Customer Support Group at BNY Mellon. And working with me today, I'm going to have James Lee. He'll be manning mostly the chat. So if you have something to say, you can post it there so we can actually incorporate that in our session. And Maribel will be running the polls. And if I need to ask you any questions or on anything, I can bring her in the conversation. So that's what the team look like today. So let's get started. And I hope I'll be a very good leader and driver, and you'll get something out of this by the time we get to 12 noon today. Next slide, please. Okay, of course we did the introduction. We're going to try and go through a path of a pool, the prerequisites for pooling, and the GenMay website information. That's some of the topics we're going to cover today. Next slide. Path of a pool. Okay, next slide. In the path of a pool, we're going to talk about pool submission, processing, the issuance, and delivery. We're going to show you a delivery diagram. We're going to talk about a pooling timeline, and we're going to have a knowledge check just to make sure everybody's still with us, although it's pretty early, but we're still going to go through a knowledge check as part of our process. Next slide. Okay, the path of a pool. I'm assuming that most of you might have already been using GennyNet. You might have submitted your pools. You might have sent them to your custodian for certification. We just want to give you an idea of what happens in our world. So we have the pool submission, processing, and issue and deliver diagram. Of course, the first part of this is all about, that's with the one is in your shop, the issuer shop. Issuer must be enrolled in GennyNet and GMAP via MGM. Of course, MGM, if you're not familiar with that, is My GennyMay. To submit pools, issuers must have available pool number, sufficient commitment authority, and approved master agreement. Those are some of the things that we're going to talk about today. Pool submission, initial certification, daily sleep. And then as MGM GennyNet user, issuer submit pools via GennyNet. You submit the pools, of course, the document custodian retrieves, do their due diligence. If everything's okay, they certify. And 3, GennyNet network sweep at 2 p.m. and also at 9 p.m. for all certified pools. So that's something you just want to keep in mind. If you want a pool to issue at a certain time, you might have to try and do I fit in the 2 p.m. sleep, or do I have the pool certified after 2 p.m. so it can be processed the next day? So those are some of the things you might, as you're processing, you might just want to make sure. Okay, so somebody is going ahead. Then we have the Pool Issuance and Delivery Integrated Pool Management System, IPMS. That's the piece that most people don't actually know about because they're familiar with the first section and the second section. But there's the third section that happens in our world at BNY Mellon. Pool files are revalidated on the new pool processing system. The new issuer file with QZIP number is transmitted to the Fed. pool delivery file created for pool settlements, approved for pool issuance, and then all that information is stored on Ginnie Mae's central registry. So all that thing happens in our space. Although the custodian still certifies the pool, but when the pool comes down on Ginnie Mae's system, it goes to another edit check. Just want to make sure we are capturing everything that pool, Ginnie Mae's policies, everything was captured within that pool before we can go on to do the issuance of those pools. Next slide, please. Okay. In the previous slide, we talked about sweeps. I just want to go into this a little bit more. Genuine direct work is swept twice each business day for processing and issuance of pools certified by the document custodian. We have a 2 p.m. sweep. That means anything you process today and certified by the custodian, if it's okay out there and it's at a certified status, we're going to bring it down in our 2 p.m. sweep. Pools certified prior to 2 p.m. will be considered a one-day processing and may be delivered for settlement the next business day. So if we process a pool today, if we download that pool in our 2 p.m. sweep and we process it at 4 p.m., that pool can, and it has a ready date of tomorrow is the 19th. I have a ready date of the 19th. That pool will get issued and will be delivered to the appropriate investor that you have on that pool. So just be mindful of that. Now, if the pool is certified after 2 p.m., we're going to do that sweep at 9 p.m. Pool certified after 2 p.m., but before 9 p.m. will be considered 2-day processing and may be delivered for settlement in 2 days. So that's the difference. If we sweep anything before 2 p.m., that's the next day processing, of course. It all depends on what your settlement date is. We won't change your settlement date if it's in the 2 p.m. sweep, but we'll do the delivery. If any pool is scheduled for the 19th, all those will be delivered on the 19th. Now, we're going to download the 9 p.m. pools, that's a 2-day processing. We're going to download that tomorrow at 9 p.m. We're going to download, that's going to be in our morning session. We're going to process, and then the pools will be ready in 2 days. So just be careful of that. Deleting pools after certification, very important. Most people sometimes, because you submit pools, custodian certifies, and then you're doing your due diligence, you're just looking over information and you found out, oh, this P&I is off a little bit. The address for the borrower is off, and you want to make those changes. You just want to please make sure you contact us at the Ginnie Mae Customer Support, 1-833-GINNIE-MAE-HELP, and so we can delete the pools for you between the 2 p.m. to 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. What we usually ask, you call us, and we're going to request you send us an email, because we want that information on there that you're requesting us to delete that pool. Because a couple of things we have to do on our end. We have to just make sure, tag that pool as whole, so it won't be a part of our daily processing, so we can actually go through the process of deleting that pool for you. So you want to make sure you get in touch with us at least before 4 p.m. that day if you want that pool deleted. After 4 p.m., it's going to be a problem, because that pool is going to be released to the Fed, and then you'd have to get in touch with your account executive at Ginnie Mae and that might take a while in terms of, you might have to end up terminating that pool. So you have to look at that. If you want something to be deleted before, get in touch with us before 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We're going to request you to send an email, and then we'll proceed from there. We'll delete on our end, and then we'll send you an email back that the pool has been deleted. You can go in and edit, make your changes, apply your edits, and resubmit the pool again. Now, if a pool was certified and you still want to delete that pool, you as an issuer has the ability to do that yourself up until 12 noon that next day. So for instance, I'm just going to use today as an example. You submit that pool today to certified, but you're checking and, oh, I made some mistakes there. Actually, I just want to take the pool back. You have the ability to go into GinnieNet and actually do the deletion yourself. That without even contacting the customer support team. You go in and do the deletion. That's before, up until 12 noon. Up until 12 noon, you have the ability to delete the pool yourself. After 12 noon, now it becomes a conversation with us at the help desk to help you do that deletion. So you just want to be careful on that. Anything after 12 noon, it becomes our responsibility, and we're going to ask you to send us something so we have that on. We have that request that the issuer is requesting to do that. We don't take requests from custodians, so the issuer has to send us that request. And again, I would suggest if you're not too sure on what to do, don't hesitate to call the 1-833-466-2435 number for some instructions on what the process is. Next slide, please. Oh, we have a polling question. So I hope everybody, I did say a couple of things in those couple of slides, so we just want to check your knowledge base, see if anybody picked up what I was saying. So we're going to actually put the poll out, and then you can respond with the answers on that poll. To check the status of a pool, you should contact your GenMay account executive, the GenMay customer support, or contact Wade Gale. Why not? What's the answer here? Okay, I see I see 83% of the group so far is saying contact GenMay customer support. That's 37 people. 7 people said GenMay account executive. It's going up to 18%. And you have 4% just want to contact old Wade Gale to get that information out to them. So we're going to end this right now for this question. The answer is actually B. GenMay customer support, 81% was right. The 9% the 19% that says GenMay account executive, you might want to look into that, because it's best to actually contact us if you're deleting the pool. And the 2, Wade Gale, you can contact Wade Gale, but I'll end up passing it on to the appropriate team that handle this. But the answer is actually B. Next question. When can a certified pool be deleted? A, pool/loan that are certified after 2 p.m. can be deleted up until 12 noon the next day. After 2 p.m. the next day, certified pool cannot be deleted. Remember what I said earlier in those previous slides? A, pool loan package that are certified after 2 p.m. can be deleted up to 12 noon the next business day. After 2 p.m. the next business day, or certified pools cannot be deleted. So the 90% of the team was right. It's A. Pool that are certified after 2 p.m. can be deleted up until 12 noon the next day. After 2 p.m. each the next business day, it would be our responsibility to go in and delete. No, that pool might not even be able to be deleted at this time. It might have been issued already. And certified pools can be deleted. So the answer is A. Let's go to the next question. If I miss the window to delete a pool, what can I do? There's a tug and war there going between A and B. There's a real fight going between A and B. If I miss the window to delete a pool, what can I do? Call GenMay customer support. Call a GenMay account executive. Resend the pool under a different pool number. Just reflect and go back to some of the slides that I had showed earlier in reference to that when I was talking about the 2 p.m. and the 9 p.m. sweep. Okay, 70% of the team is correct. Call Jenny customer support for that before you move on. Call a Jenny account executive. They are eventually going to tell you to get in touch with us at BNY Mellon so the pool can be deleted. And of course, number 3, I'm glad no one actually answered that. So thank you very much for your participation. We really appreciate this. Want to make sure that once we go through some of the slides, we're offering some reinforcement, just some knowledge check, just to make sure people are engaged in that kind of way. So really thank you very much for your participation in our first poll. Next slide, please. Prerequisite for pooling. That's what we're going to try and go through now to see when you're getting set up, what do you actually need, especially if you're a new issuer. We're going to look at some things like enroll on MGM, request secure ID token, introduction to my GenMA portal, master agreement, commitment management, request pool number, and who knows, we might just throw in another knowledge check there just to make sure everybody's in tune with what we're doing for the day. Okay, next slide. Of course, introduction to MGM. Everybody, right now, if you're fairly new, if you were approved last week or just last Friday, most likely you have not got in touch with us yet and set up for MGM. But most people right now should be using MGM to actually go through to get to JennyNet. That's the gateway for all the GenMay system now. The application resources that boost the efficiency of our business partner. The portal provides enhanced security and a single entry point for all approved applications for individual users, as well as a seamless user registration and access request process for both the user and the approving authority. If you are one of the designated org admins, you know you have to go through that, setting up yourself, getting your people enrolled, send them invites. So that's what that's all about. My GenMay will eventually replace GMAP 1 and serve as a primary platform for extending information technology. Capabilities to GenMay community. My GenMay delivers security feature which GenMay established. And of course, we have some of the browsers that we recommend here. We have the Firefox, Chrome, and Internet Explorer. And of course, by now, everybody should have an idea how to access my GenMay, https://my.genmay.gov. That's the URL you want to use to get access to the system. Of course, after you have been set up. And one thing I want to also inform the org admins, we have org admins as part of the system. You have a user manual. Pay attention to the user manual. Use that user manual as your guide. We try to make the user manual as intuitive as possible. So if you read, you might be able to understand the process. But if you're not clear, don't hesitate to give us a call so we can actually walk you through and explain a little bit further on the process. Next slide. Okay. My GenMay, and I'm sure most of you have gone through this either sometime last year or the early part of 2020 when we did most of our onboarding, and we just want to talk about some of the responsibilities. Most of you, or I don't know if this is a group, but we introduced the org admin or organization admin. That's the person who is responsible to getting all their end users onto the system, and we just want to give you some explanation of some of the different roles in the system. Org admins are privileged users who control system access, assign functional roles, and perform other user management activity. These individuals are responsible for ensuring the end users at their respective organization are provided the appropriate level of access for their business role with GenMay and the maintenance of those users' account, formerly known as security officer or enrollment administrator. If you were in the the GMAP space, of course, you would have known the security officer was the former name, and if you're in the GenNet space, it would be the enrollment officer. So now we kind of break that down. I just want to give you an idea. There's an operation administrator. Jen may have designated that to us, BNY Mellon. We're general oversight of the portal. We can provide final acknowledgement of access requests and cannot make any changes to the end user's account. So anything comes in, we review, and then we do the finalization on that. This function is provided by BNY Mellon Operations on behalf of Jenny May. That's my group, does this piece. I'm back. So I just lost my sound a little bit. I'm sorry about that. That's what happens when we do these virtual trainings sometime. So the operation administrator, which is us at BNY Mellon, we take care of all the org admins and get them onboarded. Then you have the org admins, which is org users or employees that are designated by your company that they'll do this process and maintain their users. An org admin has the privilege to invite and users to register for a portal account, approve users registration, initiate access request via functional role assignment, and user approves to user and approve the access request within a single organization. One thing you want to make sure you're aware of, any org admin must be on the company's corporate resolution. That's a requirement by Jenny May. Separation of duties with the registration and access request workflow does not allow the org admin to initiate a registration and approve the same registration, nor request access via functional role assignment and approve the same access. So there is separation of duties. So look out for that. If you as org admin 1 submit a request or send an invite, when that invite comes back, you just cannot go in and approve it. It will be the second org admin doing that. But once that request is approved, you as the first admin now can go in and establish that person's functional role. So you just want to make sure you're aware of that. It says here a minimum of 2 org admin are required. Jen may have actually upped that to 3 just to be on the safe side. So you want to make sure you have 3 org admins, and those 3 people should be on the company's corporate resolution, 11702. That's part of our due diligence. When someone says they want to be an org admin, we check that their name is on the current 11702. So we encourage you to get at least 3. At least 3. Just over the last couple of months, we have gone through, we had to go back to Jen May for some authorization because either someone was sick, someone left the company, someone was on vacation, so they couldn't continue their process. So you just want to make sure you have enough people to do those functions so you can get your users onboarded. And of course, we have the end users. The due diligence, those are the ones who use the system in and out and do all the work. The end users are the various type of Jen May employee, business partners, and contractors who require access to the business application and information within the portal, including various self-service functions. So you're the ones who log in, go to JennyNet, set up your pools, do the submission. You're the ones who maybe have to request pool numbers. Those are some of your responsibility as an end user. And also, org admin can also be an end user, just to let you know. It's just that they have other privileged responsibility to do as to manage the end users. So we have the org admin, we have the operation admin, which is BNY Mellon. We have the org admin, which is the designated employee in your shop. And of course, you have the end users, the ones who actually worker bees, I usually call them, the ones who usually go in and do the work. Next slide, please. Okay, what we want to do on this slide is just kind of give you an idea what some of the roles are, how the roles are set up in my Genime, and you should be familiar with there's a chart in the user manual, so you'll know which role suits the person who you're actually setting up. So this is going to give you like single family loan delivery and pooling. Once you see anything with single family loan delivery and pooling, you know that you're asking that person wants access to GennyNet. And also we have the role description there. Upload / enter pool and loan information for delivery. Verify availability of commitment authority. Clear documents deficiencies and pooling exceptions. Access to prepare but not execute a PIC transaction. And then you have the authorized signer. And I should tell the org admins out there, when you're giving these roles to the appropriate end users, if you're giving them the SF, loan delivery and pooling, and that person is on the 11702, that means that person also has a token, you do not need to give them the basic user. So I just want to clear that. If that person is authorized signer, give them the authorized signer. Now, if someone only go in and do data entry, they're not doing any form of submission, they do not have a token, you just give them the basic user. That's their responsibility. They don't need the authorized signer role, because that's one of the reasons why Genime kind of set this up. So you just give people the roles that they need. Don't give them everything. Sometimes it could be an auditing issue. Why does Wade Gale have authorized signer and he's not on the company's corporate resolution? So just be careful. You don't need to give them every role because it says loan delivery and pooling. I've seen it. My team have seen it. Some people just go in and just, hey, let's just give all these roles to Johnny. But Johnny doesn't use half of this. And it's cluttering up his system. So just give him the roles that he needs. Same thing for investor reporting if you're doing that. Same thing if you're in the HACM space. So we just want to show you, just give them the roles that they're needed that will get them to do their job. There's a lot of functional roles out there, but half of them might not need those roles. Just give them the ones that will let them do their job. So get familiar with that chart. And if you're not familiar with it and you need explanation again, I'm always saying this, reach out to us at the help desk so we can walk you through this, because sometimes these new things are a little bit, you don't get it right away, but if you need more clarification, don't hesitate to reach out to us. Next slide. Okay, introduction to MGM Portal and some of the issuers' responsibility. These are some things that you need to make sure you get done. Of course, you need to enroll as a user on MyGenime Portal with a functional role that allows the user to upload master agreement. Very important. If you're getting ready to set up on the system, you have to have your master agreements uploaded. The first form we usually recommend you upload when you get access is the form 11702. How do 11702? That form must be submitted with all the authorized signers uploaded, signed, and then BNY Mellon needs to approve that before you can go in and set up all the other forms that's needed. GennyNet access, of course, you'll get GennyNet access once you get that pooling and loan deliveries role. So you want to make sure you have that. Of course, you want to make sure you have the MGM Portal where you can upload your master agreement 11702. And also, if you need a token because you're going to do transmission, you're also going to make sure you request your RSA token. And RSA tokens are requested by the secured, I know I was going to say that, wait, it's not no more longer security. It's by the org admin. There's a form that you need to fill out and send that in. And RSA token, again, is only given to authorized signers. Only people on the 11702 should be requesting a token. And of course, through that, you're going to request your sufficient commitment authority to guarantee your MBS issuance. You need that fund so you can do, so those are some of the things you want to make sure you have in place. On this screen here, we have the RSA Secure Quick Reference Card, just to make sure that you understand what to do. And we also Is someone on, someone maybe just want to go on mute?
Hey Wade, we do have a question in the chat. Valerie's question is, does loan delivery and pulling basic user need to be on the 11702?
The answer for that is actually no. If they're not submitting pools, if they're just doing basic, that means they're doing the data entry, they don't need to be on the 11702. Thank you. So you are the one, James, making that noise. Okay. Thank you, James. Thank you very much. So again, get an RSA token. You must be on 11702 to receive to get an RSA token. The token must be sent, request must be sent by the org admin in your shop. And please pay attention to the reference cards. Those things help. You read, you might not get clarity, then you reach out to us. So, and we'll walk you through what the process is. But we're trying to give you as much as possible the tools up front so you can actually get started and understand the process. Next slide. Okay, of course, if you're familiar with MGM, this is just giving you a screenshot what it looks like when you actually log into the system, introduction to the MGM Portal, and what you'll see on the screen. Next slide. And of course, if you're familiar with this, you have to go through your user ID, password, and then you do login. Just to let everybody know, by now you have figured it out if you're a MGM user. Your user ID is always or username, I should say, on the screen, is your email address. That's how you're registered, your email address. And know if you're familiar with GenNet and GMAP back in the days, or you realize you had a GMAP ID, you have a GenNet ID all separate. Now, because we're in the MGM space, you log in with one user ID, which I think is very refreshing and much easier for the users to actually use this time instead of remembering your other work IDs and password and plus all the Jenny May password and all the other work that you have to do, user ID and password. Much easier to just know one user ID, and so you can go into MGM, and then from MGM you can select that application that you need to work with. Much, much easier. And make sure you also look at the login into My Jenny May quick reference card. And so we have you guys covered. We try to give you all the information as much as possible so you can be self-sufficient. And I'm saying self-sufficient, but if you still need to reach out to us, you're gonna hear me say this all the time. Don't hesitate to give us a call so we can walk you through things. Not because it's on paper, everybody gets it right away. And hopefully when you call us, we're able to explain and give you some more insight in the process. So check out those quick reference, but don't hesitate to give us a call if you do need help. Next slide. Okay, and part of the process in My Jenny May, you're going to notice you have a one-time password to log in. Once you put in your user ID and your password, you have a one-time password, a OTP. And you have two ways to do that. The OTP can either go to your email address, so you'll have to go in and get that 7-digit number and put it in the system to be validated. Or you can get that or you can set up the one-time to multi-factor authenticator one-time password and set up on your phone. That's the Oracle Mobile Authenticator. You can set that up on your phone and use that that way. And again, there's instructions on how to do that in our user manual. Most people I know for me, my team is actually using the OMA because it's much easier in terms of getting the OTP. There's no lag time in wait. When it goes to your email address, could be a couple minute lag time before you actually get that number. Once you have it on your device, it's right there and then. So experience that if you think that will work for you. Some people say they rather just use it from their from their email address, it's your choice. But we have a better option for you to do it, so it's actually make it, your process a little bit more faster. If you try and download the Oracle mobile authenticator device and set it up that way. Next slide. Okay, this just tells you some more about the dashboard on the landing page. When you log into the system, what you'll see as a My Jenny May dashboard. That screen will appear. That's the page tailored with the different types to provide easy access to key information and application. This screen talks about, you have the inbox that gives you some notices, you have notes, you have the activity feed on there, you have commitment authority. We did not capture the screen there, but you'll see your commitment authority. There's a running total on there. You'll also see your pool numbers, how much pool numbers you have left or what was used. So all that information help you like on a daily basis. I know you usually get your daily commitment, so that will help you how to plan your day by getting that information from this screen, and hopefully the information should be updated right away with all the necessary information that if you issued pools from yesterday, that information should have been, or that amount should have been deducted from the amount that's showing there. So you just want to check on that. That helps a lot of people in planning their day. Because one of the things you don't want to happen, you don't have enough funds to issue a pool. That becomes delay, and you could have set up these transactions with other people outside for your delivery. So you just want to be careful and make sure your everything is in place to issue your pool, especially your first pool. It's always a task, and it's also a big achievement when you can say, yes, I did this. Next slide. Oh, they're saying, wait, Gail, you're talking too much. So we're going to break, and we usually have a 15-minute break. Before we break, is there any other questions, anything? Anybody have anything in the chat? I don't see anything in the chat right now. But is there anything that's on your mind that I said that just went over your head, and you think we could just take a couple minutes before we go on our 15-minute break to elaborate a little bit more? And is there anything Letitia want to say before we break?
Have fun.
Okay, everybody. So we'll be back in 15 minutes. We'll have the timer up for that. And then we'll see you around, almost around 11 o'clock. So we'll go to the second part of our process. Thank you, and enjoy your break. Thank you very much, Letitia. Hello again, everybody. I hope everybody was able to refresh and ready for our second half of our session. So let's get into it. Let's go to the next slide, please. Okay, we're still on prerequisite for pooling. And of course, some of you might be aware that we're currently in the master agreement renewal phase. So we just wanted to give you an idea what happens in that phase in terms of how do you do your master agreement. So the first thing, of course, you have to do is once you go to access My Jenny May, you're going to have that drop down, and then you're going to choose MAMS. And then you're going to go to the process of actually setting up your MAMS information. So this is what we have actually tried to create here on the screen for you. Next slide. And just want to give you some of the documentation or forms that's needed as part of the MAM exercise. Jenny May issuers must complete an initial master agreement submission to be eligible to issue new pools. Issuers are required to submit a complete set of master agreements, which consists of the forms listed in the table below. So let's go through them. We have been talking about the 11702. That's the resolution of board of directors, and certified of authorized signer. Those are the ones who are going to do the submission. Those are the ones your company is saying will work with Jenny May on behalf of your company. You have the form 11703-11. That's the master agreement for participation accounting. If you are not an HMBS issuer, you won't need this form. If you do HMBS pools, then that's a part of your master agreement process. You have the form HUD 11707. That's the master servicing agreement form. If you have a subservicer, you have to make sure you fill out that form. If you don't have a subservicer, you have to fill out that form and saying there is no subservicer. Form 11709, master agreement for servicers, P&I and custodial account. And you have the 11709A, the ACH debit authorization. This form does not need renewal on a yearly basis, but as throughout the course of the year, you might end up changing your ACH debit accounts, so you'll have to make sure you send that in. And you have the HUD, form HUD 11715, that's your master custodial agreement. That's the agreement between you and your document custodian. And of course, the form HUD 11720. All those forms are part of the master agreement package and must be submitted at the start of the year or before the year, so you can actually have them in place and everything is approved and you're ready to do your pools. Next slide, please. And also, everything that we do or we try to give you, we also try to give the documentation. So even if you have to end up doing this by yourself, we try and provide the guide for you. So we have the Master Agreement Management System, MAMS. That's the guide. You have the MAMS guide that walk you through the process. We also have a quick reference card. Some people might not want to read the entire manual or guide. So we have a quick reference card so it can walk you through the steps that so show you how to create a pool. Not a pool, of course not. Wait. Show you to create a form, how to print the agreements, how to upload or import the completed form, how to search or review the form, and how to set up the information in the submission center. So all that is covered in that quick reference card. So that might work for you much easier than actually going through the guide. But when you get some time, nothing wrong with actually reading the manual itself just to get the full picture of it. And again, I always stress, if you're not clear in anything, don't hesitate.
Hey Wade, we do have a question from Aaron in the chat. The question is, what if the subservicer does not service all functions like the 203K Reno? Do you need to have an 11707 that says you do not subservice and one that says you do?
If there's no subservicer, you still need to fill out that form, regardless if it's a 203 or whatever. If you have a subservicer, that form also needs to be filled out. So if there's no subservicer, the issuer needs to fill out that form saying there's no subservicer. If you have subservicer that service those loans, one also needs to be filled out. I hope that answers your question. If you're not,
hey Wade, it's Letitia jumping in. I think the question is, is there an agreement for just certain types of subservice transactions? And the answer is no. The subservicer agreement. Yeah, no, the subservicer agreement, when it's set up, covers all transactions. It's not specific to the.
Not to my knowledge. Well, yes. Thank you. Okay, we're talking about master agreements, and this is a good time to talk about it. Today is October 10th. Master agreement renewal started on October 1. The reason why I said this is a good time to talk about it, because if you know your accounts that you're going to renew for the year 2022, get going. do it now. Don't wait until December 31st. So the annual basic issuer must recertify their eligibility by completing the renewal process. GenMay requires the recertification of master agreements annually between October 1 to December 31st. Important to start recertification process as early as October 1 to reduce the year-end spike in volume. Take it from me, Wade Gale, the last 2 weeks for master agreement is crazy. The main reason why? People waited until the last week. The appropriate people are not in the office to either do the submission or do the finalization. The person who has a token is out on vacation. And you might be in violation of what GenMay had proposed, that you must have your master agreements in between October 1 to December 31st. You're validating these are the accounts that I'm going to use for the coming year. And also, you know what happens? Come January 1, that could prevent you from setting up your pools for issuance. Because if you don't have complete master agreements, you can set up the pools in GennyNet, but the pools won't pass the edits because it's going to come up with some error message saying master agreement is not complete. Because you had 2021 master agreements there. So be careful, be diligent, try and do it on time. I think in the next I think we usually start sometime in November. We usually start sending a weekly report to GenMay and the appropriate GenMay people, maybe the account executive, to tell you what's the status of the issue that they're assigned. Was issue 1, 2, 3, 4, was the master agreement submitted? It's still pending. So we usually send that to GenMay. So GenMay also can keep track of who is not delinquent, but who is falling behind. So they might give them a little pep talk and say, get this in, it's very important. And for you, wouldn't it be best to do it early than wait till the last minute? I'm something like a car salesman here, but I'm pushing this because I know the importance of this, and especially the last 2 weeks of the year when most people maybe not be around to actually get this done. So you have the time now, do it. Even if you came on, the unfortunate thing, if you came on board in August, you still have to do it again. You still have to renew those accounts because they all expired December 31st. And all you're saying is the accounts that I use for this year, I'm going to renew them and use them for 2020 and 22. And look at this. If you did not do this renewal and come January 1, if there's no extension, most of the time Jen may really sit and think about, should I extend this? If there's no extension, you will have to go in and do all those master agreements all over again. You'll have to, every one of those required forms would have to be submitted for 2022. But if you're going to use the same account, you just say the process, you select those accounts and said you're renewing for the coming year. So look into this and see if that works best for you, but try and do this process as soon as possible and don't wait to the last minute. Next slide, please. Okay, that's your master agreement. Now you need your funds to actually issue the pool. So this is showing you how to get to commitment. Once you get into the system and you choose the drop down on the tools, and you'll choose CM, which is a commitment management system. This is where you're going to actually go through the process of getting your commitment so GenMay can do the approval. Next screen. And just to give you some information on this. An issuer must comply with GenMay eligibility requirements and have sufficient commitment authority available to successfully issue GenMay securities. Commitment allows an issuer to issue up to an authorized dollar amount of securities and constitutes a commitment line balance. Very important for you to have that. You should know your commitment line balance on a daily basis. If you're doing 10 pools and the 10 pool comes up to $20 million and you have 19 million, there's going to be a problem with one of those pools. You're going to have some insufficient fund when the pool is actually submitted. So just be careful on that. Commitment management application replaces the manual submission of documents. I mean, we have that there because if you're new to Ginnie Mae now, this is all you know. Just to do your fees via pay.gov, and you don't know about the manual tool, but back in the day, I'm aging myself, there was a special form that you had to fill in and submit that in manually and go through the process manually. Thank the Lord for technology now. This is much easier to do your commitment management process. You're going to submit a request for the authority. You're going to confirm the associated commitment fees, proactively monitor the commitment authority balance and request status. And you can also submit a payment instruction via ACH for your commitment fees, and you can request to report. So these are some of the options you have to help you with that process. So, and of course, next page, we have to talk about the user manual. We're never going to go without giving you more guidance, what to do and how to do by seeing it in the guide yourself. And of course, if you're not clear, don't hesitate to give us a call. And of course, part of the process here tells you how to submit the request, how to do the confirm, proactively monitor, submit the payment instructions, and of course, you can request a report. All of that stuff can be found in the commitment management application issue guide. And this might not be for everybody. So maybe your responsibility is just to go into access MGM and go straight to GennyNet and do your processing. But maybe other people have responsibility to request pool numbers or do commitment. So we just want to make sure this is you get an idea of what needs to be done as part of the process. Next slide. There's a good old commitment management quick reference guide. The quick tips, easier for you to understand that way than actually going through the user manual. I don't know where most people are right now if you're still working from home. But we usually, one time when we're home, in the office, I usually encourage people to, if it's best for you to print these, have them on your desk or print them or save them in a PDF somewhere on your drive so they're easily referenced and can be accessed as soon as possible if you need to, just as a reminder. So right now, we're all in different places because of COVID. So I hope these documents you can either place one spot, and of course you can also find them on the Ginnie Mae website. But just to give you an idea, if you just want to compile your own little notes, just to put them together, you can do that. So of course the guide tells you how to view this summary page, how to view the request, and also to run the report. So commitment management application information. If you don't have funds, if this is not approved, you can't issue a Ginnie Mae pool. So next slide. So we have the MAMs, that's the documentation that Ginnie Mae said needed to set up for pooling. Then we're going to make sure we have the commitment authority that's needed for pooling. Then our next step now is we have to get pool numbers. Hey, we just can't go out there and make up a 6-digit pool numbers. Those numbers have to be linked to your issuer number. So we have the system how to go through that process also. It's called request pool number, RPN. Anytime you hear the word RPN, you know that. And welcome to the Ginnie Mae's world. There's a lot of acronyms for you to remember. So we might say, at some time I think we say them too much and users are not familiar with what the actual names are. So request pool number, anytime you hear RPN, that's what it is. And it goes, once you log into My Ginnie Mae, you get on that page, select tools, and on the tools you'll see RPN, and that's where you'll go to proceed to do your request. The section 3 just kind of give you an idea how you'll request those numbers. And let's go to the next slide. And again, what we did here is just give you the how to do the request and how to use the user manual. We give you pages on the user manual where to find the process. Enter the request, view the available pool numbers, submit override request, view the status report, request and download, and receive real-time approval of requests. So all those things are outlined in the user manual. So if this is your responsibility, this is something you might want to get hooked on to, just to know the process. I don't know, often you'll be requesting pool numbers, but you'll have that. And again, this says it replaced the current paper form HUD 11700, letter of transmission for commitment authority. That's, again, if you're old school and you're here with a refresher, you'll remember that form. That form is not used anymore. Everything is now electronic. So that's a good thing. Next slide, please. And again, the reference card. We try to make sure we give you the information so you can feel comfortable in doing it for the first time. So you have all the references you can make to when you're setting up your request pool number. You have the, on this reference, it talks about give you information on the summary page, how to do the request, the download of the pool number, the review, the status, and the run report. And it's very important for these pool numbers that you have these pool numbers linked to your issuer number. Because if you don't, and you submit a pool, I just make up a pool, WG1111 and set it up. That pool will pass through GennyNet. It will go through GennyNet, the custodian will retrieve it, and they can certify the pool but guess what? When we do our second due diligence on the GennyMay end, when that pool is downloaded either in the 2 o'clock sweep or the 9 o'clock sweep, that pool is going to get kicked out on the back end. It's going to say pool number does not belong to issuer. And guess what? We have to give you a call saying you cannot use this pool number because WG111 is not your pool number. It does not belong to you. So we are going to encourage you to delete the pool and actually use a pool number that is associated with your issuer number. Or at that point, you might need to go in and request maybe 10, 15, 20 pool numbers so you have them. You cannot make up a pool number. They have to be linked. And also, if you request 10 numbers and you realize that you needed 11 and your 10 number end with 9, no, not 9, with 12. I'm saying last number is 1, 2. You just cannot assume and use 1, 3 as your next number because there are other people out there requesting pool numbers. So you just want to be careful on that. I've seen that users do that a lot because my last number end with 8. They just decide to use the next consecutive number 9. Well, that number was already used by another issuer. So we just want to be careful. We have to do the request and those numbers have to be linked because you don't want, after you set up your pools in GennyNet and you have the custodians have certified the pools, then because we're doing our second check, sanity check on GennyMay's back end, you're going to get, that's going to flag an error saying pool does not belong to you. What that could do for you, it could delay your processing because you might have tell your investor that I'm going to have this pool on the 20th. And because of the pool number being incorrect, it's going to delay the process. And also, not only the pool number, you also take in consideration, I'd mentioned earlier, your commitment authority. Make sure you have enough commitment authority. Because if that is not enough also, we're going to flag that on the back end. And then for that process, we have to get in touch with the account executive at GennyMay, and they will get in touch with you in reference that you are short, this pool number is short, and you have to wire that funds to them. So that could also take some time. So these things you just have to plan, be careful, be sure that you have the correct pool numbers you have the commitment authority, so you can issue all your pools to avoid, because most of the time you make these arrangements before the pools are even sent, that I'm going to deliver the pool on the 19th or the 20th. If that time messes up, it might put some strain on you, on your relationship with those people, because sometimes those could be penalty because you did not meet your obligation. So you just want to be careful when you're setting up this information. Next slide, please. Okay, just some information, pre-pool submission requirement. Just want to give you some more information here. Ensure there are assigned pool numbers. I think I mentioned that. Check your available pool numbers on request pool numbers, very important. Ensure there's adequate commitment authority. I was saying that all along. Check for the commitment authority and commitment management. Ensure there are completed master agreement on file. Check the master agreement system and make sure you have completed the HUD 11709A, the ACH debit authorization form. Those are some of the checks you want to make sure you set up for yourself. And if you're good to go, then I would suggest you proceed and start setting up your pools. Next slide. Okay, what we did kind of set up here, we have just some little short demos on what you can expect if you have not seen the master agreement system. Just some little short demos on what happened in the system itself. We have one on master agreement, commitment, and then we have one on request pool numbers. So if we're ready to play those, we'll just go right in. So the user is going to log into the system. We're going to click on Tools. We're going to choose MAMS. On the MAMS, we're going to look where it says Create Form. We're going to choose 11702. We're just doing the first form. We're going to click on Go. It brings up the form. Then you go in and you fill in the necessary information. You're going to put in the date. It's a recording. Don't worry about that date. We recorded that some time ago. We're going to put in the certifying officer detail, the secretary's name, the certifying officer's names, and the officer's title. You know that little asterisk at the side there, that means all those fields should be filled in. Then we're going to go down to the institutional details. We're going to put in the address. Again, look at where the asterisk is, so those fields are needed. Put in the city and state and the zip. And of course, we're going to add the city, and then we're going to add the date. Once that's done, replacing existing, we're going to say no. We're going to do like we're doing this for the first time. We're going to put in a person's name. We're going to use James as our guinea pig today, last name, and we're going to put in his title. Once that's in, we're going to choose a file, because remember, we have to upload a file that has already been signed. So we're going to choose a file. We're going to click on Upload Document, and you notice there it says Form 11702 has been uploaded. Then save as draft. Form has been successfully saved as draft. You notice that. Then once the draft is done, you're going to go to Complete. We're going to look for that draft. See, Authorized Signer for that month. We're going to submit that to the Submission Center. Add to Submission Center. And this is when it's added to the Submission Center, it gives you the notification that it's been added. Then you go to the Submission Center, and this is when you're going to select what's there and go through your submission. Of course, you have to go to the legal information and accept the terms and conditions listed above. Once that's done, it says submit form. Now, if you're an RSA token user, this is when you'll put in your four-digit token, four-digit PIN, and your six-digit passcode, and click on OK. And if everything goes well, information should be submitted to BNY Mellon for review and approval. So that's just a quick little run through with the MAM system. Now let's go to the second one. Again, we're going to go to the screen. We're going to choose Tools. And on the Tools, we're going to choose CM. We're going to set up some commitment authority. We're going to click on the name Request Commitment. The program type, we're going to choose Commitment Requested Amount. Tells the other side there what it is and how much the fee is going to be. You're going to put in your ACH routing number. We're going to enter it again for just for confirmation. We're going to enter the account again just for confirmation there. Once that's done, we're going to go through the accept terms again. And we're going to submit the request. It tells you what you're submitting there. You click on OK. It's in draft. Please click OK. And then it goes through the process with your secure ID PIN and your token, and you submit. And that will go to your account executive, and they will do the approval. So that's the CM. Now for your pool numbers. You're going to go to Tools again, and on the Tools, you're going to choose RPN, Request Pool Numbers. We're at the bottom where it says Request Pool Numbers, you're going to click on that. Your organization have adequate allotted set of pool numbers to proceed. So for instance, we're requesting 50. This is, the person's going to write, this is, I think they just, whatever your information is you want to put there, request as an override, because they're saying you have enough. So you're going to request an override from your AE. If you're not doing a request, you just go through the process and request 10 or 15 pool numbers. Once your request is processed, please contact your AE if you have any questions. So that was just a quick little, very quick, little 2-minute session just to show you how to set up your MAMs, how to do your commitment management, and how to request your pool numbers. It's all a part of the process when you're setting up, getting ready to get your pools out, especially if it's your first pool and you do have some nerves, because I'm telling you, just to set up one pool, it's a lot of information. You have to read that Bible. I call it the Bible, because you have to know the kind of pool types you're doing, what is needed in terms of the loans in the pool. You also have to get how many loans you're going to do, what kind of pool type you're going to do. So all of that plays in. So you have to have your master agreement, your commitment, and your pool numbers, and all those things ready before you can start the process. Next slide, please. Polling questions, yes. Now to see if everything that I just said went over your head or you were able to retain some of that information. So let's strike the first poll question, please. Okay, here it goes. Where do we go to submit your master agreements? It says, I was just about to scream when I said the word, I'm not saying anything. Where do you go to submit your master agreements? You know we do new pools in JennyNet. Okay, majority of the 74%, that's 28 people got the answer. The correct answer is my MGM Portal. That's where you go. I see every time we bring up this question, I see a couple of people put GMAP because you're actually going through you're going through my MGM to get to MAMS, but it's actually still in the portal space. And JennyNet, no. You only do your pools via JennyNet. The master agreements are available in JennyNet because they have to be a part of the pool, but you don't actually do the submission for your master agreement via JennyNet. It's a part of the pool processing. So the answer is my MGM Portal. Thank you. Next question, please. This has to do with the RSA token. An RSA token is required to submit your request for commitment authority. When we were showing that quick little demo, was that true? Was that false? Or was that, I don't know. I don't have a vote, Wade. Remember when we did the request and we had to put in some pass pin and code to do the transmission? So an RSA token is required to submit your request for commitment authority. Is that true, false, or I have no vote? Okay, we have 30 people who voted here, say 31, 32, 33, 34. And it's, okay, so 81% says true and 81% is correct. The 19% that says false, that is actually, you do need an RSA token to do your commitment authority and MAMS. The only one you don't need an RSA token for is to do your request pool number. So just keep that in mind. Thank you for your participation. Let's go to the third question. Okay, pool numbers must be requested after pool is submitted. Pool numbers must be requested after pool is submitted. And I'm reading it again for the ones who are putting a certain answer. Pool numbers must be requested after pool is submitted. Remember, during the slides that I was showing you, that you have to have your pool numbers before you actually set up your pools. So thank you for your participation. I was hoping, I'm 93%. I was hoping to get everybody on our side for this one. The answer is actually false. You have to have your pool numbers before you do the submission. So those 7%, I want to talk to you guys. Maybe I just stepped away for a phone call or something. So pool numbers must be requested after the pool is submitted. That's a false statement. It must be done before. So thank you. Really appreciate it. Thank you for your participation. We just want to make sure we're engaging you in some of the information that we gave you as part of the presentation. So that's what we learn anyway, just by remembering things and going through them. So hopefully that was helpful to you, or those little exercises. Okay, next slide. Yes. The reason why I put this slide in there, and just want to make people be aware of the Jenny May website information, you can go on Jenny May's website and there's a calendar there that kind of give you some of your monthly processing dates and time. It's not too clear here, but it says pool dates and calendar. Try it out especially if you're still in October, so you can see what dates. Well, when is the last day you can submit pools for multiples? That's always a problem. It have a cutoff date. When is the last day you can submit pools for a CSF pool or a XSF pool? Also, if you're going to do investor reporting, it also have dates on investor reporting. When is the last day you can report your remaining principal balance? Those dates and time you should be comfortable with and be familiar with. So you have the calendar set up there. I think right now it's up until December. So use that calendar so you won't miss any of your days if you're doing new pools. If you want to know multiples, if you're doing the M pools, they have a special cutoff. 6 days before the end of the month, all those pools are going to cut off. You cannot submit after. So make sure you get those in before that date. Usually be somewhere in the 20s, or it depends on the month itself. Anything after a certain time for M pools or multiple pools, you cannot submit for the rest of the month. So you want to know those dates. If it's an X pools, like the single family pool, XSF pool, you have until the day before the last day of the month to submit your pool. The same thing for a custom pool. So you want to know those so you can plan your days or plan how you want to get these pools out there. So use that calendar. It's on the Jenny May website. It's on the pool dates and calendar. Use that to your advantage so you can also plan your days and plan your months in terms of getting your pools out to your investors. Next slide. Question and answer. Oh, I see somebody said we love the Jenny May website. That's wonderful. A lot of knowledge, lot of information out there if you use it to the best of your ability. And thank you, Letitia, for putting the URL in the chat. We really appreciate that. Is there any questions, any concerns, anything that I said that just went over your head? It's a possibility. Wade Gale speaks with an accent.
Wade, this is Ron. I'm sorry.
Sometimes.
Were you able to see Stuart's comments?
And again, I'm also hearing that
before we open it up to questions. I can read it if we weren't able to. Stuart said, would you emphasize the importance of the issuer ensuring that the CA routing number in account is accurate, funded, and able to accept the ACH? Sorry. Wade, would you emphasize the importance of the issuer ensuring that the CA routing number and account is accurate, funded, and able to accept the ACH?
Oh, okay. Got it. Yes, very important when you're setting up that information. We want to make sure we have valid accounts so when we're going through the process, we can do the drafting of that money. So make sure the information you're sending to us does make sense. That is mostly on the ACH debit 117011A information. Make sure that is correct. What we usually suggest you do, or when you're getting these set up, we might want to do just one of those, maybe set it up to do like $1 just to make sure everything works for that account. So you can always set that up in, I think, with Margaret Williams in our office just to make sure everything goes well there. So that is very, very important. Thank you very much, Stuart. Oh my, Stuart is peeping on me. That is wonderful. Any other questions? Any other concerns?
I do want to let folks know that I see many of you did not actually connect your microphone. But for those who did, if there's something that you would like to ask, you are welcome to unmute your microphone and ask questions. You don't have to type them in the chat. So please, you're welcome to do that. If you would like to set up your microphone, as Ryan spoke about earlier in the session, at the top of your screen, you're going to have a little grayed out microphone. Hit the down arrow, and it should allow you to connect your mic that way. If you're a little shy, you can type in the chat. We're okay with that too.
And again, what we presented to you today is just guidance. We're giving you some information so you can build on to set up your pools. So we did not give you the entire information. It's totally impossible for us to sit here and give you every single detail. But we decided that we think these are the things that we need to highlight so the users can get going, especially if you're very new and setting up a new pool can be a little bit intimidated because it's so much elements and so much parts to actually get in a new pool in GeniNet. So just want to make sure that don't be shy.
Okay. So a couple things that we need to do next before we wrap up. We will let you out by 12 o'clock as promised. First, we're going to go ahead and launch some polling questions. Oh, I'm sorry. Oops. Did I jump the gun? Wade, do you have more? Oh, resources. What a great idea.
No, this is, nobody has any questions.
Oh no, somebody's snapping me back. Who is that, Maribel? Good job, Maribel. Yes.
Oh, thank you. Yes. Thank you, Maribel. Thank you very much. Most of these, we tried, part of my theme during the entire session was we give you the information so you can use it on your own time. So we want to just give you again and the links as part of the process. The manuals, the QRC, and the FAQs. This will help you if you want to do it on your own, read through them. So we just want to present the resources as part of the presentation. So those are some of the resources. We went through these on some of the slides, but you have them right there. The reference card are the ones that get the quick information, set up the stuff. And although we have the reference card here, don't, again, hesitate to give us a call, okay? If you're not clear.
Maribel, do we have another slide?
No, that is all.
Okay,
thank you. Thank you so much. As I mentioned earlier, hey guys, the Ginnie Mae website is your best friend. Andrew, I see a question. Best practice for obtaining an EIN? Yeah. Wade, do you want to comment on that?
Okay. Sure. Because since 2018, there have been some issues with getting EIN right away from the IRS. So Ginnie Mae have actually instituted that if you need an EIN, you get in touch with us. EIN are used for the C pools, the X pools, and the HECM pools. So you get in touch with us, call us on the hotline, or send us an email at genmay1@bnymellon.com, and we'll send you out the form that we use, or you're gonna send it to you. You request the EIN there. We're gonna give you a temporary EIN, and it's your responsibility as a issuer to get that permanent EIN, send it to us so we can update Ginnie Mae's system. But per Ginnie Mae, as part of our process now, we do give temporary EIN. What we usually suggest, don't request 50 if you're only going to use 10. Because what we try to do is give you on a monthly basis, and the EINs are linked to a pool number. So we want that pool number, and we're going to link that temporary EIN. So we don't want you to have 20 or 25 sitting there. We are not aware that you're using them for the next month. So the next month pool number. So the request, you send a request to us, and we'll fulfill that request to give you the EIN. So you can, if you're going to set up your November issue pools now, you can request for November. If you're still doing your October issues, you request. But the most important thing, although we send you those numbers, please make sure you reach out to the IRS so you can get those permanent numbers. Once those are available, you want to send them to us so we can update Ginnie Mae's system with the permanent number.
All
for
right,
that particular
thanks.
pool.
So
Okay.
Andrew, yeah, if you have any follow-on questions regarding getting those EINs and the issues at the IRS, please do reach out. Seth Robbins manages that process in OSO, Office of Securities Operations, and he can provide you more information as well. He asked you to reach out to him here in the chat. Okay. All right, so as I was about to say, GinnieMae.gov is your best friend when it comes to finding user manuals, quick reference cards, and training presentations. So please make sure you are using and viewing the content under issuer training on GinnieMae.gov. If you have questions about your specific transactions, please reach out to Ginnie Mae customer support. That's Wade and his team at the Bank of New York Mellon, so that they can help you navigate through any, pooling process system issues or questions that you might have. And then also make sure that you come back and join us for the rest of the training topics.